So we talked about the Packers' playoff chances on the last show, but again, the audio was so horrible. We wanted to kind of revisit that conversation here. If the Packers win their next two, which they have the Vikings and then they have the Bears, most Packers fans, you should expect to win those games. Those are games that in a playoff chase, you really should win. If you go 2-0, then you need the Seahawks or the Rams to lose one of their next two games, and you'll be in the playoffs. I believe Green Bay owns the tie. They beat the Rams. Seahawks, they have the tiebreaker? Not sure off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure they do. But the Seahawks they host the Steelers, then go to the Cardinals. Yeah, there could be a loss there. And the Rams are at the Giants and at the 49ers. You're really hoping you're circling that 49er game there and saying, all right, if we go 2-0 and the Rams fall to San Francisco, we're in. And by all means, this season has been a success already because Jordan Love looks good enough to be the quarterback next year. And in times, he's looked more than good enough to be the quarterback next year. So getting a playoff berth on top of what's already been a successful season is just the cherry on top for this freaking blue sky franchise that has everything go their way. It's just a matter of in the offseason, can you get a defensive coordinator who can pull together that ridiculous unit at the moment? And Ziggy is now gone much shorter.
Yeah, you just shrunk a bit, Ziggy.
I think his Wi-Fi is crapping out a little bit.
Yeah, we're getting a little acting up, but should go away in a second.
There he is. There he's back.
Well, almost.
So what do you think, Jack? If you had to make a prediction, because the Vikings too, if they lose this game, they're essentially eliminated. Between the Vikings, Packers, Rams, Seahawks, who are you liking for these final two wild card spots in the NFC?
Well, the Rams pretty much are. The Rams are going to the playoffs, right?
Not necessarily.
No.
Let's say Seattle beats the Steelers, the Cardinals, the Rams lose to the 49ers, Packers win out. They're out.
Oh, and the Rams are out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you think the Vikings have a shot?
I think Minnesota's going to win this game at home. But then if they lose to Detroit, they're
pretty much they're in trouble,
out, right?
They're in trouble.
I think Seattle unfortunately beats the Steelers.
So you got Seattle and the Rams.
Who do they play? Seattle plays. Who did they play last week of the season?
Cardinals.
Yes, I'd probably say Seattle and the Rams then.
Okay. Ziggy, how about you?
You know, there's a lot of different ways I could. Am I coming through?
You're coming through. You're just a little.
You're just very laggy. There you go.
Yeah, there are a few different ways that I could see this going, but I don't know. It's tough to see the Rams beating the 49ers. Funny enough, actually, like the Ravens beating the 49ers was a huge gift for the Packers, right? Because now the 49ers won't have no reason to rest anyone. So, yeah, I think the Packers have a pretty good chance here. The question is just going to be, can the defense play just good enough?
Even Chicago's playing better football right now. So the Packer defense has to show up here. I'm with you though. I think the Packers and the Seahawks at the moment would be my picks.
If Seattle wins the last two and the Rams win one, it's the Rams and Seahawks, right?
Unless the Packers win out or the Vikings.
Or I think Minnesota beats Green Bay.
Yeah.
So I would have Green Bay out. Yeah.
But come on, guys. Can you imagine the Packers blue sky rainbow franchise missing the playoffs?
I mean, I'm rooting for the Packers for the sake of this show. I mean, that's an extra 3 weeks of Packers talk.
That is
probably 1 week.
No, if the Packers lose this game, we probably lose every single Packer fan who watches. Yeah. But if they win, now we're talking about a likely playoff Packer game, which could top 20,000 views. I'm not rooting for the Packers again. Let's be clear. But I do understand the significance.
You know, it's also very funny that if the Lions win this week in Dallas, and then they win the following week, do you know their chances for the number 1 seed could come down to Matthew Stafford beating the Niners?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if Matthew Stafford gave the Lions the number 1 seed.
It would be...
I mean, Stafford would play his
the perfect
tail off for the Lions that last week of the season.
That would be a storyline going into it as well.
Big time.
Wow. The Lions is the 1. I'm trying to think here. Where would, if Green Bay got in as the 7... they would probably play San Francisco.
That's just a nightmare matchup.
But if the Lions win out over the next two, Green Bay would, as the 7, go to Detroit probably as the 2. And now we're talking about a Packer team that could win the playoff game as well.
With Green Bay's defense right now in its current state, I wouldn't pick them to beat anybody in the first round.
Yeah, probably
not one team.
Probably not.
But they can get there.
It's a shame for Packers fans.
But like we said at the beginning of the season, we wanted to see Jordan Love improve and be solid throughout, which he has been. It's already been a success. We said week 1, if this team is playing meaningful football in week 18 and can go to the playoffs,
beyond successful.
That's just, that's hot fudge
It's
and
bullshit.
and
That's what it
that's
is.
hot fudge,
It's
gummy bears,
bullshit.
sprinkles, a cherry on top. I mean, that's extra gravy.
Yeah, but again, you have to get by the Vikings first, and if the Vikings win, next thing you know, they have a playoff game in Detroit. So it's cool to have rivalry games be so important down the stretch. The NFL, good job with your schedule making.